the Confederación Centroamericana y del Caribe del Fútbol, or as I'm going to be calling them, the CCCF, because I'm not saying their name over and over again. The CCCF was the CCCF was created in 1938. Its members were Costa Rica, Cuba, Curazao, El Salvador, Guatemala, Haití, Honduras, Nicaragua, Panama, Suriname, and Aruba. Most of the organization's effort would be focused on the region, as when it came to the World Cup, the nations were either not a FIFA member, or if they were a FIFA member, they would still decline to participate. And if they did participate, they wouldn't make it. So with that being said, its main tournament was the CCCF Championship, or well, actually, it was called the CCCF Championship. It was active from 1941 until the CONCACAF merger with the NAFC in 1961. The first championship was in 1941. It was a single table tournament with 5 teams that was hosted by Costa Rica. Each team would play each other only once, and the teams that participated in this tournament were Costa Rica as the host, Curazao, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and Panama. Costa Rica would win the inaugural tournament. In 1943, El Salvador would host the tournament. It would be joined by Guatemala, Costa Rica, and Nicaragua. El Salvador would win the tournament because of goal difference after they were tied in points with Guatemala. In 1946, Costa Rica would once again host the nation. In 1946, Costa Rica would once again host the tournament. It would be joined by El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, Panama, and Nicaragua. Costa Rica would win its second title. The 1948 edition was hosted by Guatemala. It would be It would be joined by Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Panama, Curazao, and El Salvador. This time the tournament was formatted to have each team play each other 2 times. Costa Rica would end up winning its 3rd title. The 1951 edition was hosted by Panama. It would be joined only by Costa Rica and Nicaragua, as there was a polio epidemic in the area and the other nations did not want to participate. The format was still set to be played 2 times against each team. Panama would win its first and only CCCF title. The 1951 edition was hosted by Costa Rica. It would be joined by Honduras, Curazao, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Panama, and El Salvador. The tournament was returned to a 1-match against each team format. Costa Rica would win its 4th title. The 1955 edition was hosted by Honduras. It would be joined by Costa Rica, Cuba, Aruba, Guatemala, Curazao, and El Salvador. Costa Rica would win its 5th title. The 1957 edition was hosted by Haití. The nations that joined were Curazao, Cuba, Panama, and Honduras. Haití would win its first and only CCCF title. The 1960 edition was hosted by Cuba. It would be joined by Costa Rica, Honduras, Suriname, and Netherlands Antilles, who was a mix of Curazao and Aruba, but FIFA recognizes the Netherlands Antilles as modern-day Curazao. Costa Rica would win its 6th title, playing Netherlands Antilles in a playoff. Costa Rica would win its 6th title, playing Netherlands Antilles in a playoff match after both had tied in points. The final CCCF championship was in 1961. It was hosted by Costa Rica. For the final tournament, the format had 2 groups, single match, where the top 2 teams of each group would go on to a second round. The first group had Costa Rica, Haití, Cuba, Panama, and Guatemala. The second group was El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Netherlands Antilles. Costa Rica, Haití, El Salvador, and Honduras would go on to the second round, where Costa Rica would win its 7th and final CCCF title. After this, the NAFC and the CCCF would become one, and CONCACAF would come to life. Now, this only talks about Central American nations and the Caribbean nations. In the next video, I'm going to be talking about the NAFC, the North American Football Confederations, which is basically Canada, United States, and Mexico. Oh, and Cuba. Bye.